Let me set the scene. Pink balloons, a $900 crib, my sister Nia, glowing like she'd just won the lottery of life. She looked me dead in the eyes across the gift table and said, "At least my baby will have a father." The whole room clapped. They clapped. My own mother nodded like a judge giving a death sentence. I'm Ingrid. I'm 34. I'm the failed sister who got left with a sticky note and a toddler 6 years ago. They think I'm the family charity case. But here's the thing about vaults, baby. They look quiet and unassuming on the outside. But inside, they are full of heavy metal and locked secrets. And tonight, I had the combination. Welcome back to the Payback Vault, where we don't start fights, we just hand out the evidence. If you've ever been the black sheep who actually had their life together, smash that like button right now. Tell me in the comments, who is the golden child in your family? My life wasn't always a spreadsheet of revenge. 6 years ago, my ex-husband left a sticky note on the kitchen counter. 4 words. I can't do this. No fight, no conversation. Just his wedding ring sitting next to the toaster like a cold coffee cup. My son Devon was 2. He kept walking to the front door for a week, pressing his little face against the glass, waiting for a daddy who wasn't coming back. I didn't have a career. I had a $340 bank balance and half an accounting degree. But here's the thing about being the loser in the family. You have nothing left to lose. So I finished that degree with Devon sleeping on a blanket under my desk because I couldn't afford a babysitter past 9 p.m. By 29, I started my own forensic accounting firm. Just me, a laptop, and an office above a dry cleaner that smelled like chemical lavender. I hunt dirty money. I find the skeletons. While my sister Nia was posting Instagram photos of her perfect fiancé Mike grilling steaks, I was finding fraud. By 34, I had a mortgage I was 3 years ahead on and a son who could name every dinosaur that ever lived. None of that mattered to my family. To my mother, Carol, I was still the daughter who couldn't keep a man. To Nia, I was a cautionary tale. In their eyes. Nia had a husband. Ingrid did not. The math was that simple, and they made sure I felt that math every single day. Every Sunday at 4 p.m., my mother called. She never asked how I was. It was always the Nia report. Nia's new kitchen tile. Nia's promotion at the dental office. Nia's trip to Hilton Head. If I mentioned Devon made the honor roll, she'd say, "That's nice," and pivot back to the real headline. Your sister figured it out, Ingrid. Figured it out like life was a combination lock, and I'd been spinning the dial wrong for a decade. I learned to hold my face still. Devon learned too. He'd go quiet and press into my side, gripping my sleeve. He was 8. And he already knew when a room had turned against us. I carried that weight because that's what I do. But here is where the story cracks open. Nia was 7 months pregnant when Mom announced the shower. Not invited me, announced it. We're having it at the house. I'll need you here to set up the chairs. No mention of Devon as a guest, just keep him out of the way. My kid, her grandson. I said okay because I was used to being the help, but I noticed things. You see, I do numbers for a living. I know when something doesn't add up. And Mike, the golden husband, he traveled every weekend for territory visits. He'd leave Friday and come back Monday smelling like a different brand of soap. Nobody blinked, but I blinked. Because that pattern, that's not sales. That's a double life. Let me paint you a picture of Nia's life. A 3-bedroom colonial on Birch Lane. A nursery with sage green walls. Monogrammed onesies lined up like little soldiers. Mike's hand on her belly in every photo. Counting down 38,000 hearts, he'd caption. I scrolled past those photos at midnight while reviewing client fraud cases. I felt the sharp little bite of jealousy, sure, but I also felt the itch, the forensic itch. There was a gas station receipt that fell out of Mike's truck once. Marbleton, 40 minutes east, nowhere near his sales territory, and a toy car for a little brother Devon didn't have. My gut was screaming, but I pushed it down. I always push it down. The breaking point came when Mike asked me for a favor. He wanted to refinance the house. He sent me 3 PDFs of bank statements. You're the numbers person, Ingrid. He said it like a compliment, but it felt like an insult. I opened the files at 11 p.m., cold coffee in hand. Groceries, gas, prenatal copays. Then I saw it. A recurring auto pay. $1,450 per month. To a property management company in, you guess it, Marbleton. I scrolled further. $620 per month to something called Bright Horizons Children's Center, a daycare. Nia wasn't due for 2 more months. They didn't have a baby yet. So why the hell was Mike paying for a daycare? I sat in my dark kitchen. The numbers didn't add up. $1,450 for rent, $620 for childcare. Both payments started 31 months ago. That was before Nia and Mike's wedding. My hands started shaking, not because I was scared, but because I knew. I knew exactly what I was looking at. Mike wasn't just bad with money. He was funding a whole separate household. I closed the laptop. I told myself to stay out of it. Over-responsibility is a professional skill for an accountant, but it's a trap when you're a sister. I decided I would wait. I would tell Nia quietly, after the shower, when things were calm. But the universe doesn't do calm. 3 days before the shower, Mike picked Devon up again. I almost said no, but Devon begged. Uncle Mike said we'd get milkshakes. They were gone for hours. When Devon came home, he was quiet. Too quiet. He sat on his bed, pulling off his sneakers. Then he looked at me with those dark, careful eyes. Mom, Uncle Mike took me to a house. Not his house. A different one. There was a lady with red hair and a little boy. The boy's name is Cody. He's really small, like maybe 3. My spine went cold, ice cold. Uncle Mike said it's a surprise. Don't tell anyone, especially Aunt Nia. The next morning, I found the drawing. I was emptying Devon's backpack to wash it, and there it was. A folded piece of construction paper. 2 houses, one with a triangle roof labeled Aunt Na. He spelled it wrong, with a round belly. The other house was smaller, drawn in orange crayon, 3 figures in front. A man labeled Daddy Mike, a woman with red scribbles for hair labeled Aunt Sarah, and a tiny boy labeled Cody. Between the 2 houses, Devon had drawn a road with a smiling car. My 8-year-old had mapped out the affair in crayon, and he didn't even know it was a crime scene. I sat on the kitchen floor holding that drawing. On the back, in Devon's careful block letters, was an address. 412 Elm, Marbleton. I didn't cry. I made a list. That's what accountants do. I pulled up the county assessor's records. The property came back as a 2-bedroom rental unit leased to a Michael and Sarah Dunning for 3 years. Michael Dunning, same middle initial, same social from the bank statements. Sarah, Cody, a 3-year-old. Mike had a whole second family 40 minutes away. He was grilling steaks at our cookouts while paying for another kid's diapers. I looked at Devon's drawing and realized my son had just handed me a smoking gun. Here is the messed up part. I didn't want to ruin the shower. I'm not a monster. I made a plan. A quiet, dignified, professional plan. I would wait until the next week. I would take Nia for coffee. I would show her the evidence gently. I would hold her hand while she cried. I am a forensic accountant. I know that timing is everything. Dropping a bomb at a baby shower isn't justice, it's cruelty. So I rehearsed the speech. Nia, I love you. I found something. Let me help you. I even texted Mike. We need to talk about Marbleton. He called me, voice low and tight. Stay out of my marriage, you bitter, jealous, alone woman. He threatened me. He said he'd turn the whole family against me. The day of the shower arrived. Mom's backyard looked like a Pinterest board exploded. A balloon arch in blush and gold, a mimosa bar, a 3-tier cake that probably cost my rent money. I wore the navy dress with pockets because I needed somewhere to put my shaking hands. Devon wore his dinosaur tie. We set up 30 chairs in the June heat while caterers ignored us. My mother didn't say hello. She pointed at the stack of chairs. Those need to go in the backyard, and Devon can sit in the hallway. There's a folding chair by the coat rack. The hallway. My son, her grandson. I knelt down and straightened his tie. You're sitting with me, I whispered. Nia arrived looking like a goddess in a white sundress. Mike had his arm around her waist, playing the perfect husband. He saw me across the yard and his jaw tightened. The grin came back, but it was plastic. The gifts started rolling in. A bugaboo stroller, cashmere sleep sacks, a crystal frame. I put my gift at the end of the table. A pale yellow blanket I had knitted myself. 3 weeks of midnight stitches. Soft, imperfect, real. When Nia opened it, she held it up between 2 fingers like a dirty rag. Homemade, she said. That's so you, Ingrid. She set it on a chair behind her. Not on the display table. On a chair, like a napkin. I felt Sid Devon squeeze my hand. The digs started during the mimosa round. Nia's friend Kelsey leaned over. So, Ingrid, still single? Anyone on the horizon? Before I could answer, Mom cut in. Ingrid's focusing on Devon. That's enough for her. She said it like she was defending me, but it tasted like poison. Then the toast happened. Mom stood up with a champagne glass. To Nia and Mike. They built a complete family. She emphasized the word complete. She looked right at me when she said it. Complete, as opposed to me, broken, incomplete. The yard cheered. To the Dunnings, glasses clinked. I raised my glass too because I am the kind of woman who raises her glass even when the toast is a dagger. The advice round is where the wheels came off. Guests wrote parenting tips on pink cards. Nia was glowing. She rubbed her belly and looked at me. Not at the crowd, at me. Honestly, I'm just grateful my baby is going to have a complete home. 2 parents, a father who shows up every single day. She paused. The yard was quiet. Then she tilted her head and grinned. At least my baby will have a father. The laughter was instant. 15, maybe 20 people. They actually clapped. They applauded my sister for using my worst trauma as a punchline. Mike stared at the grass. My mother pressed her lips together and didn't say a word. She let it happen. I sat there. Devon's hand was gripping mine so hard his knuckles were white. I felt that laugh roll over me. The clapping, the whispers. Some women just make bad choices, my mother added. Not loud, but loud enough. It was a funeral. My funeral. I was about to stand up. I was about to leave quietly. I had the car keys in my pocket. I was going to walk away. But then my son stood up. He didn't cry. He didn't shout. He straightened his dinosaur tie, and he spoke. 8 years old, voice clear as a bell in a silent church. Aunt Nia, he said, should I tell everyone about Uncle Mike's other family? The sound stopped. Not faded. Stopped. It evaporated. I have never heard silence like that. You could hear the ice shifting in the punch bowl. You could hear a sprinkler 3 houses away. Naya's smile froze like a crack in glass. Mike was standing by the mimosa bar. His hand was around a glass, and the glass didn't move. Nothing moved. Devon looked around, confused. Uncle Mike has another house, he said, quieter now, but louder than a bomb. With Aunt Sarah and a boy named Cody. He's 3. He showed me his trucks. 30 faces turned. Not toward Devon, toward Mike. Mike, whose face went the color of the fondant on the cake. Nia laughed. It was the worst sound I've ever heard. High, thin, cracking. What is he talking about? She looked at me. Ingrid, what did you tell him? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Mike answered by moving. He set the glass down too hard. Champagne sloshed over the rim. He's confused, Mike said, too loud. Kids make things up. But Devon's voice stayed calm. I didn't hear it on TV. I went to the house. You took me there. Aunt Sarah made sandwiches. Mike's mouth opened. Nothing came out and... Kelsey put her champagne down. Diane set her fork on the table. My mother was gripping the armrests of her chair like she was on a plane going down. Mike tried to pivot. Ingrid put you up to this, he yelled. But Devon shook his head. I drew a picture. It's in my backpack. 20 heads turned toward the hallway, toward the folding chair they had relegated my son to, toward the small blue backpack. Innocent men, don't run. Mike ran. He sprinted for the patio door. But Nia is 7 months pregnant, and she moved like a linebacker. She got to the backpack first. She pulled out the construction paper. 2 houses. 1 smiling car. Datey Mike? Aunt Sarah? Cody? Nia stared at the crayon figures. I watched her do the math. 37 months of rent, a 3-year-old kid, a wedding that happened 3.5 years ago. The math added up to a prison sentence for her ego. Mike? Her voice was deadly quiet. What is this? Mike had his car keys in his hand. He was backed against the patio door. Nia, I can explain. Then explain, she screamed, holding up the drawing. Explain Cody. Explain 37 months of rent I didn't know about. Mike looked at the drawing. He looked at the 30 faces. He looked at the door. He chose the door. He turned and walked out. His truck started 30 seconds later. Nobody followed him. The silence, that time was different. It was the silence of a perfect picture shattering into a million pieces on a tile floor. Nia turned on me. "You did that," she hissed. "You've always been jealous." I stood up. I walked to the chair behind the gift table. I picked up the pale yellow blanket, the one she had dismissed as homemade trash. I folded it carefully. "I asked Mike to tell you himself," I said. "2 days ago, I told him to come clean. He refused." Nia was crying now. "Why didn't you tell me? Why here?" I looked at Devon. "Because my son heard you say, 'At least my baby will have a father.' He's 8. He connects dots. He wasn't trying to hurt you, Nia. He thought he was helping." The logic was clean, purer than any audit. Nia sank into a chair. She pressed her hands against her belly. She was about to become the very thing she had mocked. A single mother. My mother stood up. For the first time in 34 years, she had nothing to say. Her mouth opened and closed. The woman who always had a verdict was silent. I didn't wait for her to find her voice. I walked past the balloon arch, past the 3-tier cake. I took Devon's hand. "Mom, are you mad at me?" he asked. "No, baby. You told the truth. That's never bad." We left. The party was over. The Golden family was dead. And the bad choice sister was walking out with her head held high. Mike disappeared for 6 days. He didn't have the guts to face the music. On day 3, a woman named Sarah called Nia's phone. She was calm, exhausted. She had a 3-year-old who kept asking where Daddy went. They talked for 47 minutes. Nia called me after. Her voice was flat, drained. "He took $23,000 from our joint savings," she whispered. "Can you help me?" 3 words. I had waited 6 years to hear my sister ask for my help. Not for revenge, for proof that I existed as something other than a cautionary tale. "Yes," I said. "That's what I do." I pulled apart Mike's finances like a surgeon. Hidden assets, unreported income, 37 months of fraud. I built a file so organized that Nia's lawyer called it the best discovery document I've ever seen from a non-attorney. I wasn't doing it for Nia's approval anymore. I was doing it because the truth is a scalpel, not a hammer. And Mike deserved to lose everything. Mom called once. She didn't say sorry. She said, "I didn't know about Mike." I told her the same thing I told her at the shower. "Call me when you were ready to have a conversation that doesn't start with what I did wrong." She hasn't called back. That's fine. The peace is deafening, and I love it. I sent the blanket to Nia by mail, not as an olive branch, because the baby was innocent. That baby deserved something made with love, even if the mother couldn't see it at the time. Some women do make bad choices. I'm just not the one in that room anymore. That night, Devon and I sat on the kitchen floor. We ate ramen from mismatched bowls. The apartment was quiet. No champagne flutes. No judgment. Devon slurped a noodle and looked at me. "Mom, Aunt Nia said I don't have a father. Is that bad?" I put my bowl down. I pulled him into my side, noodle chin and all. "You have me. I have you. We're not missing anything, Dev." He thought about it, slowly, carefully, like turning over a rock. "What about Cody?" Does Cody have people who love him? I nodded. Cody has people who love him too, even though the grown-ups messed it up. Devon leaned his head on my shoulder. Mom, at the party when everybody laughed at you, I didn't think it was funny. That's why I said it. Not to be mean, Aunt Nia kept talking about dads, and I kept thinking, but Uncle Mike has a whole other family, so why is everybody laughing? His logic was cleaner than any courtroom argument, cleaner than my carefully rehearsed coffee shop speech. He saw a contradiction in the adults, and he said it out loud. That's all. That's everything. We sat there on the linoleum. The fridge hummed. The light buzzed. 2 people. No audience. No ribbons. No arithmetic about what counts as complete. A family isn't whole because 2 parents stand in a photo. A family is whole when no one in it has to lie to be loved. Devon taught 30 adults that lesson in 10 seconds, and I have never been prouder to be the woman they called a bad choice. So here is the tea. The vault didn't just open that day. It swallowed their whole reputation. If you are watching this, and you are the Ingrid of your family, the one they judge while hiding their own mess behind matching Instagram outfits and perfect marriages, let this be your reminder. Quiet women see everything. We keep the receipts. We knit the blankets. We raise the brave children. And we don't need your claps. We need your silence while we walk out the door. My family wanted a scapegoat. They got a forensic accountant. Big difference. Don't let the door hit you. Where the good Lord split you, Naya. That story lives in the payback vault now. If you want to see karma hit people who deserve it, you need to subscribe. Right now, hit that bell and comment, "Show me the receipts," if you think Ingrid should send Mike the bill for her therapy. To the Devons of the world, the quiet kids who see the truth, I see you. Keep drawing those pictures. I'll see you in the next story. Peace out.